of like a green oasis when you look at it from the sky. The reason being that just around Christmas time this year we had a fire around the pine plantation, and unfortunately most of the trees around the zoo got burnt. The zoo was saved, and this is probably because we have sprinklers going in the zoo grounds every day. We're able to keep the place nice and green, and so by doing this there was no real fuel for the fire to catch onto, and so it saved the zoo. So it may look a little bit sad from the outside when you first drive in and visit the zoo, but once you're in here you realise that this is a little bit of paradise in amongst all the black charcoal. The history of the National Zoo Aquarium started about 13 years ago. It was known then just as the National Aquarium. It just had the aquarium up the top with a few different species of fish, saltwater and freshwater, and had a small trout farm out the back. It failed mainly because the trout dams weren't deep enough, and during the summer or during the warm weather the trout didn't survive. From there it went through another owner who picked it up and thought he could run with it by opening a small fauna park out the back, and that was just to have a few kangaroos and a few other native animals. And generally it would have worked, but the people in the ACT have already seen kangaroos, so there was not a great deal of interest in it. From there it went to Richard Tyndale, who now owns the National Zoo and Aquarium. His dream was to turn the small park out the back into a zoo where he could have his passion of looking after endangered animals and basically helping people get the conservation message that is needed for the earth today. Our first animals that we brought in were our brown bears, our European bears. They came in about just about 2 years ago now today. There's 3 bears, 1 male and 2 females. And that was our first enclosure that we built, and that's right up beside the aquarium. From there we went out and did more or less like a modern day hunting. We went out looking for animals, and we found a lot of animals in circuses that were due to be retired, and so Richard decided that he would help these animals, and so we do have a fairly aged population in some of our collection. And from there we've just grown. We've added to that collection by finding an unrelated female lion overseas, and we're able to bring her over. She's very valuable to the gene pool here in Australia. As you can imagine, the gene pool of lions will be pretty shallow. Now these 2 cats are really special. These 2 are tigons, which really don't exist in the wild. What they are is a cross between a tiger and a lion. Now these were bred in a circus, the father being a tiger, the mother being a lion. That's where they got the name tigons. If it's the other way around and the father is a lion, then they're called ligers. These 2 are brothers and sisters. Being a crossbreed, they're also a mule, which means they can't breed. So we've got no problems of breeding them ever again. They're the only tigons in the country, and as I said before, they don't really exist in the wild at all. In fact, they don't exist at all. But we won't tell them because they'll get a bit upset about that. Not only are our exhibits here animal friendly, but they're also kid friendly. All our exhibits are made so no matter how small you are, you can still see the animal. For instance, our perspex window through our bridge over the otter enclosure is built so that kids of all ages can still see these animals at play. Sun bears are probably one of the most endangered bears in the world today. We know of there's only 3 born in captivity every year, generally. This young fellow was born over in Wellington Zoo in New Zealand, and when it was time for him to be moved away from his parents, we put our hand up and said that we would build him a good home, and we have built him a fantastic exhibit. It would be one of the largest sun bear exhibits definitely in the country, if not in Australasia. All our exhibits are way over the size that is needed for these animals to hold them in captivity. Richard's basically got a saying that if he can't build the enclosure 3 times larger than what is needed, then we won't build it at all and we won't get that animal. So all our enclosures are very large. Probably one of our most exciting exhibits at the moment is our Cougar Canyon. That has a 12-metre high waterfall running, and we have a pair of cougars there, and they seem to be enjoying their environment. It's a huge enclosure, and often you'll see these guys just basking in the sun at the entrance of one of their caves. You can walk in the dens through our walk-in exhibit of our snow leopards, where you'll be able to see probably one of the rarest cats in the world today, the Himalayan snow leopard. The pair that we've got are brother and sister, and at the moment we're out looking around the world for an unrelated male, so that in the very near future we can start breeding these very endangered cats. Generally that's all we've got at the moment, and we'll be building our zoo every day. Each day we're looking for new animals, and that's basically what my job is, looking for new animals. And as we grow, so do our enclosures. Eventually we'll run out of space, and then of course we'll stop growing, but at the moment we've still got a little bit more room to go, so each time people come to visit the zoo, there's always something new to see.